Ow! Things are going well.
I just hit my knee.
Are you okay?
Yeah.
Workers' comp.
Alrighty.
Are we doing this?
We are doing it.
Getting into the next episode of Healthcare Horrors. Healthcare Horrors.
Murder. I'm Alicia Caroselli, your veteran account manager.
I'm Ashley, a brand specialist.
I'm Dolan, on the knobs. I don't think I'm going to get used to you saying veteran
Account manager?
account manager.
I have to think. Do you see me think about it before I say it?
What do
'Cause
I
I'm like,
do?
what's my title?
We've branded you so hard here at Atlas.
I know.
And then you get to switch it all up on us.
I know. I'm like, well,
It's all right.
So now I'm your veteran account manager.
So last time we talked about Dr. Thomas Neal Cream, whose murders spanned over 15 years. So, gnarly
God, that
story.
felt like so much longer than 15 years. Man, Dr. Cream.
He was in London, Ontario. Then he was in London, England.
He was in London.
Then he was in Des Moines, Iowa. Then he was in Chicago, Illinois. All right.
Moving on.
Moving on. Go for it. Who are we talking about today?
Today we are talking about Orville Lynn Majors. Orville Lynn Majors was born April 24th, 1961. He's a Taurus. And by the way, I'm gonna have to go back and like keep track through episodes of like who was what zodiac, so we can tally this all up to see which zodiacs we have the most of.
Okay.
You said Taurus, and I was like, I don't know why, but I thought you said tourist. Like,
I did too at
Taurus.
first.
Taurus.
like a tourist.
He was a tourist.
He was a tourist.
A Taurus.
I still heard it.
Taurus. Tourist. Taurus.
Taurus.
All right, he's a Taurus. Anyway, so Taurus are known for being diligent laborers, great listeners, dependable, but they can also be stubborn, bullheaded, and set in their ways.
I really enjoy you giving the descriptions because, like, after doing the research and then hearing what you say about them, it totally adds up.
I know, and if you guys don't believe in astrology or all the zodiacs, I hope this might help put some belief into it, because they do tend to match their personality type descriptions of their zodiacs quite often. So Orville Lynn Majors was born in Greenville, Kentucky. There's not a whole lot of history on his early life and his career, but he took care of his elderly grandma as a teenager, and it said that experience likely led him to go into nursing. Orville graduated from Nashville Memorial School of Practical Nursing in 1989, and then he took a job at Vermilion County Hospital in Clinton, Tennessee, north of Terre Haute. So he briefly took Clinton, Kentucky. But anyway, so he took a higher paying job in Tennessee, but then he returned to Vermilion County Hospital, and honestly, he just kind of gets right into becoming an angel of death.
Yes. So we're at Vermilion County Hospital in Clinton, Indiana.
Okay. I was like, Kentucky, Indiana.
Yes.
Okay.
London, Ontario.
Listen.
The world is a big place.
The cities, the states, it's a lot to keep up with, okay?
So at the hospital, he was known to be very knowledgeable and gentle. He had a gentle reputation. People liked him. In 1993, he was 31 years old, and something just changed in him. His terrible attitude and irritability was due to him doing methamphetamine.
Sure.
Don't do meth. It's not good. So,
I wonder, did he have, and I know we don't have like a ton of his history, but like, did he have like a history of substance abuse, or did he just like jump right to meth?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe he started with some drinking, some cigarettes, and just went straight to meth. I have no idea.
Marijuana's a gateway drug.
Yeah, so he jumps to the hardcore stuff. By May 1993, he begins being very rude to patients, calling patients and their families terrible names, like referring to them as trash.
What year is this?
Why is this
1993.
Oh, okay.
What a bedside manner. Trash. So his glowing reputation dwindled. This led to the harm and neglect unleashed among the patients at Vermilion. January 1994, 89-year-old Luella Hopkins is admitted to the hospital for complications of pneumonia, which cleared up pretty quickly until Orville comes into the picture. He informs Luella that she needed a shot, even though she was getting better. She trusted her nurse. He gives her the shot, and shortly after, she falls into cardiac arrest or cardiac flatline. The medical team was confused as to why she died suddenly, but due to her old age, there wasn't a whole lot of questioning being done.
And this is one of those things too, where you're in a place where there's a lot of elderly patients who are dying of natural causes and stuff. So, just a fact about Vermilion, was it Community Hospital?
Vermilion County Hospital. So before Orville Lynn Majors started working there, around 26 patients died annually, and it's a 56-bed hospital with a 4-bed ICU. After Orville Lynn Majors starts working at the facility, this skyrocketed to more than 100 per year.
Oh my gosh.
With nearly 1 out of every 3 patients dying.
Yes. Yeah.
Just to put in perspective, like, just how bad this guy is.
What is that, like 400%, 300%?
I don't
That's
do math,
crazy.
Dolan.
No, I'm glad you brought that up, though, because, 56-bed hospital. It's a smaller hospital. A lot of elderly people are there. So nurses began to joke about how it seemed like every time someone dies, Orville's around. Haha, it's so funny. Until they get the bigger picture.
Seems to be the reoccurring theme throughout our episodes. I mean, everybody makes the joke about people dying under certain nurses. And
Yeah.
Well, because it's almost just something like your brain, that's like protecting itself. Like your brain just doesn't want to go there. So you're probably just like, oh, haha, like nurse so-and-so. But then you're like, oh, because you as a person wouldn't do it. You can't fathom that this other person that you work with would do it.
For sure. So his next victim, he takes in April 1994, Cecil Smith, age 74, also suffering from pneumonia. Cecil complains to his son about how it feels like his insides are burning, and shortly after that, his blood pressure spikes. This could have happened because he was administered something stimulating like an amphetamine or epinephrine that excites the heart. So 2 hours after Cecil's blood pressure spikes, he dies despite medical team efforts. Next, Dorothea Hickson. She's 80 years old. She was in the hospital due to fluid in her lungs. In her past visits to the hospital, Dorothea Hickson and her family became familiar with Orville, so they knew him, they trusted him, they liked him around when he was her nurse. Just minutes into his shift, surrounded by Dorothea's family, Orville administers a shot to Dorothea, and 60 seconds later, Dorothea flatlines, and her family doesn't suspect any wrongdoing. They just think he's there, doing his job, trying to help. There wasn't any foul play.
I wish you could all see the look on my face right now. I'm so irritated. Like, and I get it. Like, and you want to trust your family's healthcare professionals, and but I'm like, he did it right in front of you.
Yes, right in front of the family. So these recent 2 deaths were in 1 month of each other. So, yeah. Finally, a nurse supervisor, Dawn Sturrock, grows suspicious and does some digging. She discovers that out of 147 patient deaths between May 1993 and March 1995,
I want Dolan to guess the number.
Nurse Orville Majors was present for how many deaths out of 140?
Out of 140?
147.
How many was he present for?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say 147.
Close. Really close.
I have... Okay, you want another guess?
145?
130.
Okay.
Yes, 130. So...
I was
Do
just...
the percentages on that, Dolan.
This is fun. We should play guessing games more often.
Just give me a second. I'll figure out the percentage. No, I figured, 147 deaths, like, that number had to come from somewhere. So I thought maybe he was all of them. I don't know.
Some of them may have died from natural causes or something else.
For sure, but
Excuse me.
What a coincidence.
Yes. So, nurse supervisor Dawn Sturrock notified authorities immediately.
Give her a round of applause because it
Round
never
of
happens.
Applause, everybody. Good job,
Good job,
Dawn. And Orville doesn't get arrested right away, but he does get suspended from the hospital.
Good.
Yes. So Detective Frank Turchi is on the case, and one of the ways the lead detective decided to go about the investigation was to consult with a psychiatrist about what traits a serial killer working at a hospital might have. And these traits were controlling, egotistical, and wanting authority. Do you have something, Nolan?
I have the percentage.
You have the percentage? What was the percentage?
88.43%.
That's a lot.
Dang.
That's crazy.
Mm-hmm. So police discovered in their digging that Orville would also pretend to be a doctor sometimes. And
Is he still on meth?
I don't know. I'm just gonna say yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with yeah.
'Cause I guess like my question is like, how has nobody noticed his
true.
like behavior? Because call me crazy, but we've all seen somebody on drugs at some point, whether it's on TV or on the street corner or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So you're working with someone side by side who's doing meth. Like, don't you think you'd know?
Yeah, you think someone would
Maybe you
pick
wouldn't
up on
know
it.
what it was, but you...
Yeah, I mean, everyone picked up on his attitude and irritability and everything, but yeah, you think eventually. So I don't know.
Okay.
I'm just going to go with yes.
Okay.
I don't think he got help.
Deal.
Also, before he was even arrested, suspicion was drawn to him because he ended up hiring a lawyer. So while this was all unfolding, there was little reported in the media about the case. And somebody wrote an anonymous letter to a news station disclosing everything that was going on. And the person most likely worked at the hospital, and this caused an uproar in Clinton, Indiana. This led to the nursing board doing a little more and suspending Orville's license for 5 years for administering wrong meds and working in the ICU without a doctor. So yes, this leads to a media frenzy, and Orville's digging it and playing the victim to the masses. As the families start coming forward too, like wondering, my grandpa died at this hospital, is it possible that he was a victim of Orville? Families start coming forward, but there's still not concrete enough evidence. Finally, the evidence that does take this to court ends up being the EKG readings from the patients that died at the time they died. So Dr. Eric Prostowski analyzed that the EKG readings showed a pattern of abnormal cardiac events that meant they were most likely injected with potassium chloride.
Yeah, and a lot of those families that were coming forward, they were saying like, hey, which like my loved one has either coded or died within minutes of Majors giving them an injection like that we saw.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, and they, but that's technically like a hearsay, I guess. So that's why they would need these EKGs.
Yes, which is genius, I think.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of cool. Science. This eventually leads to authorities being granted a warrant to search Orville's home for final evidence, which they find super easily. They find syringes, needles, epinephrine, and empty containers of potassium chloride in the garage. All of that stuff is just there.
I think it's funny that he hired a lawyer, but like didn't get rid of the evidence.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true.
But they always do that, like they never get rid of it. Like what you don't think, it drives me crazy.
Mm-hmm.
They think they're smarter than everybody, and they're not.
It's true. So, December 29th, 1997, there's 33 months of investigation altogether of them collecting evidence and everything. But in December 1997, Orville is arrested and he pleads unguilty. The trial goes into the fall of 1999 and he still pleads unguilty. But finally, with the EKG readings and families coming forward, there's solid enough evidence, like they found everything at his house to put him away. So October 18th, 1999, the jury finds 38-year-old Orville Majors guilty.
Okay, I've got some interesting facts.
What you got?
Okay. A total of 79 witnesses were called to the stand to testify against Orville Lynn Majors at his trial. And a lot of them said that he told them he hated elderly people and that they believed that he believed elderly people should be gassed.
Jeez.
So another big number thing here that investigators figured out was that when Orville Lynn Majors was on duty, that there was an average of one death every 23 hours, or almost one per day, which was every time he worked.
Mm-hmm.
When he was off duty, the death rate dropped to one every 23 days.
Oh my gosh.
They determined that a patient at Vermilion, right? Vermilion
Yes.
County. I can't. I just have VCH and I hate saying that.
You're good.
Was 42 times more likely to die when Orville Lynn Majors was on duty.
My gosh.
Again, round of applause for Dawn for bringing this to the light, because holy crap.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so how many, suspected for well over 100 murders.
Mm-hmm.
We said, about 130. So he was only found guilty for 7 of them. That's what I have. His victims that he was found guilty for was Mary Ann Alderson, Dorothea Hickson, Cecil Smith, Luella Hopkins, Margaret Hornick, Freddie Wilson, and Derek Maxwell Sr. And yeah, who knows who else he killed. September 24th, 2017, at age 56, he died of heart failure. How ironic.
Isn't it like, who was the one we did who died, the starvation doctor who died of starvation? Yeah. Like the irony.
Yeah, for sure.
So just a little bit of aftermath situation. VCH was renamed West Central Community Hospital after the whole incident with Orville Lynn Majors, and they were slapped with wrongful death suits by the families of 80 patients who died while Orville Lynn Majors was on duty. So most of them settled the lawsuits and were compensated by a state's patients fund, and the hospital was fined $80,000 for negligence, code violations, and was briefly forced to shut down after losing its accreditation. And then I think by 2009 it was taken over by Terre Haute-based Union Hospital and renamed Union Hospital Clinton.
Jeez.
And then I think Orville Lynn Majors appealed to the Indiana Supreme Court, which let the verdict stand in 2002. So he did try to get out before he died.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I wish we knew more about his backstory for sure. There just wasn't much about his history at all.
But it's like, well, and you said when and I guess the shift was him doing meth and whatever and stuff like that, but it's not uncommon to see like major mental illnesses kind of come forth in males over the age of 25. Like 25 to like 35, I think is kind of a sweet spot for that. So maybe that could have been involved too, because I mean that's the only way you're ever gonna find anyone I know doing meth. You have to be mentally ill already.
Yeah.
So kind of crazy.
And like this wasn't very long ago, so I don't understand how he got away with so much. Like, was there like I get it was a smaller hospital, but I don't know. You'd think someone would catch on quicker than that for sure. Like,
because I think it's one of those things that you just don't want to believe it. You know,
for sure.
Hard to come to terms with.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, but at least Dawn's my hero. In so many of these stories, you know, nobody ever comes forward, or everybody waits till it's too late, or till you know this person has been working in 5 hospitals and has left a path of destruction.
Sure. I mean, he definitely did, but it was very quick, just like 2 years.
But imagine if this story had gone the way all the other stories go, like how many more people he could have killed.
Fleeing to other countries.
I mean, because even in 1995, background checks were nothing like they are today.
For sure.
So, well, don't do anything Orville Lynn Majors would do, and Ashley's going to tell us who we are going to tell you about next time.
Yes. Are you ready? It's another one that we've kind of joked about.
Oh boy.
Because of a weird name.
We're always on it with the names.
Dr. Teat Herm.
Teat. Dr. Teat. We had Dr. Cream, and now we got Dr. Teat.
Yeah, okay, but sounds super interesting because we might be diving into a little bit of cannibalism.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah. And I'll read the back of the book really quick. So, Teat Herm, police pathologist who spent his nights hunting prostitutes, Herm actually performed autopsies on many of the women he'd killed.
Gross.
And there might be some cannibalism. So, I think it should be interesting.
I think it will be an interesting story, but I'm grossed out already.
We haven't talked about this yet, so something new. Yes. And we're almost to episode 25. Getting there.
Wow. We've been doing work.
Moving on up. All right. Until next time. See you in 2 weeks, or I guess you'll hear us in 2 weeks.
You'll hear us again soon.
This was a quick one. Good job, guys.
Murder.
Thank you for listening to Healthcare Horrors, brought to you by Atlas MedStaff. Just a reminder, we are not healthcare professionals. We are just fans of true crime, talking about some of history's darkest moments in healthcare. Stay tuned, stay healthy, and stay safe.